Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard and welcome to October. This is a by request video. Just quickly to show you the temperature it is outside. I was asked to put this video together as a review of the Mitsubishi Mr. Slim heat pump. So let me show you. This is where I installed it, right? And just backing up. This is a big room. This room is 24 by 34, give or take a little bit. Well, 32 anyway. So it's a big room. I put this in about a year ago. It was October of last year. And there's the specific information on it, if anybody's really interested. There you go, I think makes it a little easier to read. So there's this piece and the piece outside. I'll show you that quickly also. This is behind my house. This is the pipes that come off of it, so it's on the other side of the wall there. You hang a bracket on the wall and drill a hole where it indicates, and you feed the pipes from the inside unit to that unit, and there you go. This is the outside unit. Now this thing does the heat pump thing, so out here, like right now, I can feel blowing cold air because it's on, I turned it on the heat mode. It doesn't automatically decide between hot and cold. You have to tell it, are you know, what direction the heat pump's working in. Are you going to be behaving like an air conditioner, or are you going to behave like a heater? So right now I have it behaving like a heater. I actually had it off. The only reason why I turned it on is to make this video. This heat pump at 24,000 BTUs is my primary source of heat. My house is, to this point, if you go from here all the way down till the end, past that open door, there's another room back there. This house is, this part is 30 feet wide from there to there and 50 feet long. And then there's an upstairs with 4 bedrooms and a bath. So the house itself is big. And then there's the room, I don't know, living room, I guess we'll call it, which is 24 by 24. Anyway, this is my primary source of heat. I typically don't have to fire up the pellet stove until Thanksgiving time. This thing was able to carry the place. What I really like about it is you just turn it on and it goes, right? You got a little remote control thing here, and you just use that and you turn it on, and this little cover slides down. You could select the mode and all that. It just does what it's supposed to. The top flips up and there's some filters in there, and you clean them off. And one should probably clean them more frequently than I do. I cleaned them for the first time like in the end of July, beginning of August, and they were pretty dirty, so the thing probably was not behaving efficiently. Anyway, I like it. I like everything about it. The only thing I wish it told you something about what it was doing, how much power it was consuming, and so forth like that. And I made a change to it that really improved the situation. We got to go to the downstairs hoard, so please excuse the mess. But down into the basement we go. Yeah, I'm a crazy hoarder. Please forgive me for such things. Some of you guys like the videos on this heat pump. Some of you guys could care less. And by the way, my basement is 30 by 50, and then the garage, which is through that door, is 24 by 24. So this is the basement hoard. For any of you people who worry about fires and so forth, you might have wanted to step outside. Anyhow, what I did is I put this thing on its own power box, and that's the breaker for it, 20 amps. This breaker goes to my welder plug, right? And the if I'm going to use the welder, I typically turn this off. I have this being fed, this little box is being fed with a 40 amp breaker, but I don't really use one or the other. The addition I added to it was this this power panel here. You could see it's getting 243 volts. Right now it's using, wow, it's using 1600 watts worth of electricity, 6.77 amps. And the most important number, since I turned this thing on last October, it's used 4,083, let's call it 4,100 kilowatt hours. And you say, well, what's the big deal? I pay about 17 cents a kilowatt hours. Let's, just to make it go easy, let's make it 20 cents a kilowatt hour. That means I used about $800 worth of electricity to run this thing for the past almost 12 months now. This time I'm going to go turn it off because it's 60 outside. I really don't need it on. But it's only used $800 worth of electricity to provide air conditioning for the entire summer. And we had a hot summer here. We had several days where it was well over 90, more days than usual. So it did a good job for me on that. Once again, it also provided heat. It was my primary source for heat in the winter. For those of you folks, I'm in the Hudson Valley of New York, halfway between Albany and New York City, and I'm kind of in a cold spot where I'm at. But last winter was a warm winter. Typically this thing is producing heat fairly well until you start getting around 10 degrees. It says it's good until minus 10 degrees, but 24,000 BTUs is not big enough for what I'm asking for it. Probably 36,000 BTUs would have been a unit that would have been better if I'm trying to heat this place with it. But I use it. It's good for, like, 11 months of the year, 10 months of the year. What I'll do is I have that thing set to like, typically we keep this place about 66 degrees, 67 degrees. So I'll set that thing to about 66 degrees, and then I'll fire up the pellet stove. The pellet stove is good for about 30,000 BTUs, but I typically run it on low. Low is about 1 pound of pellets per hour, slightly more. I mean, call that 8,000 BTUs per hour. So I have that running on low, and I have that thing running also. What it does is it puts out some heat. It helps circulate the air so the whole main floor stays warm enough. So other than the $800 worth of electricity that burned for air conditioning and cooling last year, right, and I showed you about 4,100 kilowatt hours, right? I burned about a bag of pellets a day. So I burned about 120 bags of pellets, give or take. So, which is, call it a 2.5, 50 bags is a ton. So call it a ton and a half just to make the numbers go easy. A ton of pellets by me cost, for an easy number, $250. So that's another 500 and 1.25, 5, 6, 6.25. So my total energy bill, so 6.25, 800. That's 14 and change. And then I burned about 30 gallons of oil. Right now oil is cheap, so you're looking at about $1.50 a gallon. So call it a pair of 800. So this house cost me $1,600 for heating and air conditioning last year. That's for 30-something, 3,200 square foot house. That's not bad. During the real cold times, I would burn some wood in the basement. I know, dangerous, but I would burn some wood in the wood stove, just to kind of round things out. We don't attempt to heat the sunroom out here, though there are days when the sun's lower on the horizon and it really blasts in the window. That room gets pretty warm, and what we'll do is we'll open up this door and let some of the heat come in from the sunroom. The sunroom, we kind of fix it up, and then it becomes a catch-all. When we used to have that cat, the cat found a better home. So, and by a better home, I mean she moved in with a family, and she's spoiled rotten now. Not that she passed or anything, but anyway, since she's found a better home, this room does stay cleaner, but it is kind of a catch-all. There are things like I should get rid of those air conditioners, including that upright over there. My compressor doesn't belong out there. Those are bags of clothes that we're going to donate to the church on the couch. So it should get cleaned up and stay that way. Anyway, if anybody has any questions about this thing, for cost, the inside and outside units, the little pad you see on the ground, and the connection that goes from here on out, there's 2 copper lines and an electrical line, plus the box there's an electrical box that goes outside, plus the wiring to hook it up, all that stuff. Somewhere around $2,600, 24 and change, call it $2,500, give or take $100. I've never done this before, so I bought all the tools to do it. I want to be able to do it should I ever have to do it. So I bought I bought a pump to evacuate it. I bought the manifold kit. I bought a bottle of nitrogen because after I evacuated, I backfilled it with nitrogen and then evacuated the nitrogen and backfilled it with nitrogen. I did that a couple of times, and I pressurized it with nitrogen overnight to make sure I had no leaks. Then I evacuated it again, and you open up with an Allen key, you open up a couple of valves, and that lets the Freon flow through the entire system. And then the thing's ready to use. It's that simple. I mean, to install it, you got to figure out where you put it, make sure you don't have beams in a bad place, and you want to make sure you have beams in a good place to hang that bracket. You put the bracket up. You drill a hole where it indicates for the lines from that thing to go out back. They all go out back in a bundle. Okay. You pick that thing up, hang it on the bracket, feed the lines out back, bring the lines down, and I kept them on a downhill angle, obviously. Ran them out to the compressor outside, sat the compressor on the pad outside, hooked everything up. I mean, you're looking at like 3 wires and 2 swage lock connectors. I mean, piece of cake. Everything was all formed. They have a little port on there that you hook the air conditioning manifold to. First you hook your pump to the manifold, and the way the lines, the kit I bought, I was able to backfill with nitrogen through that manifold also. So I pulled it down and let it sit for a little while and saw there was no leaks, backfilled it with nitrogen, did that a few times, then pressurized it with nitrogen, let it sit overnight. Didn't lose any pressure, so I pulled the vacuum on it for a couple of hours until I was sure that it was way down. Shut the vacuum down, took the manifold thing off, put the cap on the end of it. Then I opened up those valves and let the Freon through. This is the safe Freon. What is that? 405, I guess it is. You guys remember it when I showed you the thing outside. So this has the safe Freon in it. It doesn't eat up the ozone like so many of the older Freons do. And it's been good. You guys got all the numbers now. You can see how much power it used because I got that little meter on it. It did a really good job air conditioning this place for the summer, even though it was as hot as it was. I trust the system, so when we went away, we were away for 2 weeks. I just let it run. I wasn't afraid that it was going to get into trouble. I trusted it enough to let it run. I turned the temperature up. I mean, I turned it up to about 75 degrees because we weren't home. For the pianos, this Yamaha, and this thing, whatever the heck it is. I don't play piano. My wife plays piano and teaches piano. This is, I don't know what this thing is. Anyway, they got to be kept dry. You don't want them to get too damp. It makes things stick and it makes them buzz. So it's better to keep the pianos dry. I don't know. That might be a Koyobi or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, folks, any questions, please ask. I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. I truly recommend these things, especially if you're down south a little bit, especially for me. If you're down around, I don't mean northern New Jersey where you're up in high altitudes where it gets a little cooler, but as you're starting to get down south where your cold day, it's 20 degrees. I mean, you could really have one of these and run it year round. And especially if your house is only, less than 2,000 square feet, 1,500 square feet on one level. I mean, that thing would be the cat's meow. They also have them that you could have one compressor outside and you could have 2 or 3 of these units. So then you can put one unit in the master bedroom or on one half of the house or however you want to set your place up, and then one in the living area, and theoretically I guess one in your shop in the basement or whatever you have going on. I mean, each time you put one of those units, it's an expensive proposition because you got the long copper lines to run and all that kind of stuff. The copper kit, I think the line kit was $400 by itself. So yeah, you're looking at one of the units outside or inside was a little over 1,000, one was under 1,000. I think the outside one was a little over 1,000, and this one was under 900, and then the installation kit, I think the pipes were 4 and change, then you got the box thing, so you put all those numbers together and you get right up to 2,500 pretty quickly. All right, folks, once again, I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your head up, and please enjoy all your days. Bye now.